sort of give us an outside looking in perspective, as we like to call it, is Swiss Ambassador to Kenya, His Excellency Jacques Pitteloud. Thank you very much for joining us. Let's start by taking a look at the events in the country. I mean, over the last few months, some would say over the last year, but specifically last night, when you hear about these attacks once again in Lamu and in Tana River, what is the diplomatic corps thinking about this situation in Kenya?
I don't know whether I can really speak in the name of the diplomatic corps, but something I can say for sure in their name is that we present our condolences and our sympathy for yet another group of Kenyans, innocent Kenyans that have been killed in senseless political violence. Now, yes, indeed, we are worried collectively, like I think every political observer in this country, and having seen let's say a similar situation before that ended up with a disaster. I was in Rwanda in 1994. I think that we are facing a very explosive situation. Wars always start for three reasons: mobilization, fear, and miscalculation. At the moment we have the mobilization on all sides. We have fears, lots of fears. There are so many rumors. Of course, you are very, very aware of them, that, you know, this side is responsible for this attack, whatever. There will be provocations. And so people are afraid. And when people are afraid, they tend to overreact.
Okay. And, you know, you're talking about fear and, you know, we're talking about some of the situations we've seen. Of course, the worst in the world to date is Rwanda. And people would say, well, we're making these comparisons. Aren't we spreading fear? But you've seen the worst of it in Rwanda. You know, some lessons to be learned to make sure we absolutely never ever get to that point?
The lessons to be learned are, first of all, not to create a situation where a spark could ignite the whole thing. And at the moment, if I'm looking at the developments of the last 3 weeks, indeed, the attack in Peketoni has opened quite a huge split in Kenyan society, and all the allegations around the attack in Peketoni. The reactions by both parts of the political divide have created this atmosphere of fear. And now it is time for responsible statesmen and women to take their responsibility and to calm down, especially for tomorrow. It is too late to stop the mobilization. The meetings will take place, and they should be what democratic meetings should be: people asserting their right to claim that they are not happy with the government, but within the boundaries of the constitution.
That being said, you have asked Raila and the CORD team to stand down from tomorrow's rallies. Why?
The idea is not, and it's certainly too late to ask to stand down, but one of the main aspects will be not to react to what could be perceived as provocations, and I'm sure that the government side should also refrain from any provocation, because if you have a couple of 1,000 or 100,000 people in the streets, a spark can ignite something really, really bad. It's time now to really cool down.
Your advice to both sides, I know you're saying cool down, but what are some of those specifics that both sides of the political divide can get into so that we, you know, have some calm restored in the country? Because there is that perception, everyone is on edge.
I was confronted the other day with somebody telling me that, you know, in Switzerland people demonstrate too. Yes, they do. They demonstrate, but if they have specific demands, the specific demands go through the channels that are put there by the constitutional rights. So there is indeed parliament, there are other means, and setting ultimatums in a situation where everything is very explosive is probably not the most intelligent thing to do.
All right, and just very quickly, you haven't, your government hasn't issued any travel advisories?
No,
yet?
No, we haven't issued travel advisories, no.
And why is that when you take a look at the actions of some of your counterparts?
Because we think that, like the rest of the diplomatic community, we should stand by Kenya. Kenya is facing a very difficult moment, also with attacks from abroad, and by adding to the fears and by adding to the problems, especially of the Kenyan tourism industry, we are not helping this country.
Okay, all right. We thank you for your time, thank you for your support, and thank you for your insights into this. Obviously, having seen some of the worst that human beings can do to each other on this continent, it's important, I guess, to take a step back. And we thank you for your time and thank you for your insights into that. We've been speaking to His Excellency Ambassador, Swiss Ambassador to Kenya, that is His Excellency Jacques Pitteloud, on the mood in the country at the moment and why we should all step back before we get ourselves into a crisis. Not fear-mongering, but perhaps just getting perspective on where we are in the country at the moment.